So you've probably heard the quote from Carnegie that says 90% of all millionaires become so through real estate. And to be honest, that probably still holds true today. There's so many people nowadays that are going through real estate. You see stories all the time, especially on social media and all that, seeing people who were in a dead-end job just a few short years ago, and now they're at financial freedom and able to do whatever they want, travel, and kind of just live their life because of real estate, whether they were flipping, wholesaling, real estate investing in rental properties, Airbnbs, whatever it may be. It allowed them to get where they are. So if you want to be one of those success stories, here are a few ways that you can become a millionaire through real estate, and I'm going to go through them in today's video. Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Moynihan. I'm a real estate agent and investor based out of Keene, New Hampshire. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest around the area, feel free to reach out. If you want to kind of follow my day-to-day and kind of see more short form stuff and all that good stuff, feel free to follow my Instagram. I'm always posting there pretty much every day. I'm on my stories and always trying to put up good, valuable content with reels, kind of giving you short snippets to get you through your week. And then I do one of these a week on here on YouTube, so make sure to hit the subscribe button also. But without further ado, let's get into the ways you can become a millionaire through real estate. The first path of real estate investing we're going to touch on is rental property investing. Now, this personally has a special spot in my heart because it's a way I actually got into real estate and kind of piqued my interest of becoming an agent, getting into investing and all that. So it's always going to hold a special little spot in my heart. And people look at rental property investing like, oh, you have to have tons of money to get into that. You're going to need 25% down payment, blah, blah, blah. I got into my first rental with less than $5,000 4 years ago, and that rental is doing quite well and paying me monthly cash flow 4 years after. It cash flowed the minute I left and rented out the unit I was living in. So there are ways to get into it with lower down payments. Feel free to shoot me a DM if you're interested in that. But there's four main benefits to rental real estate investing that kind of all help you out in different ways of their own. So the first one is cash flow. Now this one is one of the nicest ones because it's something you can see immediately. So once you get that first, or I should say checks, because if you're buying a multifamily rental property, you're having a few different apartments pay you and you should be able to cash flow. If you're not buying cash flowing rental, there's different ways I look at it. Typically in my area, I only buy cash flowing rentals. There are certain spots in the United States that people will buy it to get future cash flow, but that seems a little riskier. If you have the time and the money to be able to hold over until it starts producing, then that's all you. That's all you. It's not going to be one of my typical ways of doing it, but if you want to do it that way, 100% up to you. So cash flow is one of those nice immediate things that you can see when you have a rental property and it's paying you $500, $800, $1,000 a month just because you're managing it and giving people places to live. It's a great feeling and kind of becomes addictive, and once you just want to keep adding to your portfolio to grow your monthly cash flow. It's awesome. Number two is appreciation. Now this kind of just happens without you having to do anything. Of course you want to keep upkeep on your building and do updates and all that, but the actual cost and like what your house is worth, you don't really decipher that. It's more just what the market's doing. And over the course of history, the market always trends upwards. Yes, you're going to have those dips, but if you're not selling in the middle of a dip, you're not going to be losing money. So people look at that like, oh, well, it's going to go down and up and down and up. Yeah, but if you're not selling in the down, you're not losing money. As long as you're still being able to afford your mortgage, which shouldn't change unless you have some weird variable interest rate loan, which I really don't think is a great option. As long as you have that, you should be able to keep affording your house and keep it up so it's not getting foreclosed on. So just don't sell in the low. And you can hold out over time, and the appreciation is going to kind of work itself, and you'll be able to be worth more for having the same property you had back then. And another thing with appreciation is rent appreciation. Rent prices go up just like house prices go up. And I never understand why renters have such a hard time grasping that concept. It's like they're complaining that rent went up a few $100s over the past couple of years, but it's like house prices went up a few $100,000. So like, just like supply and demand, if it's harder to get the supply and the demand's high, you could charge more for the supply. Like, it's just how it works. A rental property or rental spaces are just simply supply and demand type scenarios. Number 3 on the benefits of rental properties is actually principal pay down. So chances are you're watching this video because you want to become a millionaire and you're not a millionaire yet. So chances are you're not buying these rental properties in cash and you're going to have a mortgage on these that you pay down every month. And every month you pay that down, your principal is getting lower and lower and lower. Hopefully, if you bought it in the right situation, your tenant to rent is going to be actually paying down your principal, and you're not necessarily paying it down. Of course you are, but it's more coming out of their side because you want to pay your expenses before you take profit in rental case or rental property situations. So every time you pay down your principal, the more equity you have in your house. The more equity you have in the house, the more you are worth on your net worth, because when you sell that, you get the difference. So if you buy, just say easy numbers, if you buy a house for $100,000 and then you end up paying the principal down to $50,000, you sell it for $150,000, you get $100,000, which is awesome. So principal pay down is a nice one. And the last one is actually going to be number 4, and that is depreciation. Now, unless you're like a really pretty well educated, not necessarily savvy investor or learning about investing, you probably don't know what depreciation is. But what it is this allows you to basically take a tax write-off for owning your building. So the government places a lifespan on your building of 27 and a half years, meaning that whatever the worth of your building is, you can take that amount divided by 27 and a half years, and that amount you can deduct each year off your taxes. So it's lowering your tax liability. And you just have to make sure that you are actually, of course, your accountant's going to do this, but you can't take the land value. So say your property is worth $250,000, but your house is worth $225,000. The land's worth $25,000. That is separate. So you can only depreciate off that $225,000 of your building value, or whatever it may be in your case. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at it for tax liabilities, that you can't take the land value into depreciation because the land stays the same. But that's about it for rental properties. And of course, with all 4 of those benefits, all of them make you worth more money. So the more cash flow you have, the more it adds. The higher your appreciation goes and the more your building's worth, the more it adds to your net worth. And with principal pay down, the more you're paying down the loan, the more net worth you're getting there because you have that in your equity in your house. And with depreciation, you're being able to save on taxes, which is also helping you become worth more. So it's kind of great in 4 different ways to be able to get off one investment is an awesome opportunity. And that's why I love rental properties so much, especially small multis are my kind of specialty at the moment. Hopefully I can grow out of that at some point, but right now that's kind of where I'm at and I love it. So next we're going to go into another way to become a millionaire. Now this one might be a little bit slower. It's going to have a little bit more sweat equity, and that is fix and flips. Now, of course, everyone has seen TV shows of all the dream scenarios of fix and flips making hundreds of $1,000s per flip. Just remember when you're doing this, it is risky. A lot can go wrong here. Like you can buy a house and it can be a complete dud and just be a horrible investment. So make sure you actually either have some knowledge in building houses or like fixing houses, or at least you're willing to learn. Maybe the first couple ones you hire someone and kind of like watch what they do, or you just start learning it. Either you can hire crews or you can learn it yourself, do it depending on what your situation is. That's one great thing about real estate is it's so flexible. Whatever your situation is, you can find an investment that goes with it. So make sure you know your market, know what's important, what sells, where you should upgrade. Don't over upgrade, because a lot of times like these fix and flip properties are usually like a rundown single family that you're fixing up to sell to a first time home buyer. It's not like you're like, of course there's situations where you do fix and flip $1 million properties, but a lot of times it's smaller properties that you're fix and flipping for someone to get into, probably for their first house. So you don't want to be over upgrading and just basically losing money because it's not going to give you the return on your investment that is worth it. So don't over upgrade, but do a good job, know what you're doing. And again, this is going to be sweat equity. You're going to need to know market prices of houses. You're going to be able to know what sells, how fast it sells. and kind of know all that, so you know what your cost of carrying is, and just a bunch of details that I personally haven't dealt with because I've never fixed and flipped a property, because I know there is risk in it. I'm not at that point where I can take the risk to do it. But it is a great opportunity to kind of make a bigger chunk of money at one time and kind of work your way up to becoming a millionaire. A lot of times people like take their profits from this and go invest it into rental properties, which is another great avenue to do it. So you get your down payments for your rental properties from fixing and flipping, then you go put it into a longer term investment. Great opportunity. And now for the final one I'm going to touch base on is kind of a little bit along the lines of that, and it's wholesaling. Now, wholesaling's kind of a good starting spot, especially if you have no money and the only thing you have is time, because wholesaling does take a lot of time. What you're trying to do is you're trying to find a homeowner that wants to sell their property, and you have to basically get it under contract for a low enough price that the seller's happy and they're getting what they want, but you have enough room in that to go sell the contract to the end buyer. Because in this situation, you're not actually buying any real estate. You're just kind of a middleman, basically connecting a buyer and a seller. Not necessarily a real estate agent, but you're just a connector. So you find someone that is selling a property that you can get for a good price. Say you're looking at buying a property for $200,000 from the seller. And then you know that you can sell that property to someone who's going to fix and flip it. So you're going to sell it to the flipper for $225,000. And you know that he can buy it from that and still make money on his end. So you're basically going to get it under contract, sell that contract to the fix and flipper. So $200,000, selling it to him for $225,000, and then when it all gets done and closed up, the title company is going to make sure that the seller gets their $200,000, and then you're getting that $25,000 assignment fee, is what they call it, because you're assigning the rights of that contract for $200,000. You're assigning the rights to the end buyer, the flipper, and you're collecting the assignment fee of $25,000. Now, some people look down on this model and think it's basically you're just screwing the seller, which it just depends how you look at it. If the seller's happy, this whole thing, when you're doing it, you have to be upfront with the seller and be like, hey, these are my intentions. I'm going to get it with you and then go sell it to another person. You have to be clear with that. But if the seller's happy with it, why does it matter? Maybe they just want an easy sale to get out of it, because if a fix and flipper's buying it, chances are it's a cash deal. So they just want it gone. They don't necessarily care about the highest price. They want ease. So like people think, oh, well, they could have got $225,000. Yeah, but it might have taken longer. They were happy with $200,000. They got $200,000. You got $25,000, and the flipper got a property that they can also make money on. Everyone wins in that scenario. So you just have to make sure you're in a winning scenario. You're not screwing anyone over. But again, this takes a lot of time to actually find that buyer. You're going to have to do a lot of marketing, a lot of cold calls, a lot of outreach to be able to find these situations. And there is money to be made. People do it all the time. But it's one of those things that it's just a different type of sweat equity than fix and flipping, because you're not actually buying a house in this. You're just basically buying contracts and finding end buyers for it. And then that wraps up like real estate investing on how to become a millionaire. All those different avenues can get you to become a millionaire. Rental property, again, is my favorite, but another one in real estate technically is becoming a real estate agent like I did. My main avenue I want is investing. I love helping people get into investments and kind of see what real estate can do for them and how it can like expand and open up their possibilities with financial freedom and all that stuff. So I love it on that side. But you can also become a millionaire through just selling real estate as a real estate agent. Is it going to be the quickest way to become a millionaire? No. Is it going to be the easiest way? No. But if you want a new career, you like real estate, and you find yourself you see yourself actually selling it, it could be another great path to making that $1 million, especially in like the right situations, the right city. It might not be as hard as it looks to make $1 million, to be honest. It's pretty crazy with somehow these cities with such high prices, you make a lot of money per sale. So that is another one. Becoming an agent, it's a lot harder than people think. People think, oh, I go get my license for a cheap amount, nice easy entry fee, I'm going to be able to make thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with no work, because I know some people. Trust me, it's not as easy as that. I wish it was. I really do, but it's not. You have to do outreach. You have to put work into it just like any other job, and you're going to get better over time. But getting a little too off course there. So those are like the three biggest things of how to become a millionaire through real estate: rental properties, fix and flipping, wholesaling, and then a little bonus if you want to become an agent, you're still in real estate and you're selling it, just a different avenue. So I don't know which one is necessarily right for you. Like I said earlier in the video, the nice thing about real estate is there's so many options. You can choose what you want to do and you can go do it and succeed in it. Of course, you've probably also heard the buzz about sub 2. That's another way you can do it. I find it a little bit sketchy. I haven't done one personally, so I don't know the exact details of how it works out, but I just don't want to have the seller be liable for anything. So that part is the only thing that I'm still working out, but it's still another great option, especially if you have no money. Again, sweat equity, but if you have no money, you can get into it and start making some cash right away, which is awesome. So I hope this video kind of provided a little bit of value to you. I hope it maybe opened up your eyes to a certain type of avenues you didn't know, or certain aspects of rental properties and the benefits that actually come with them, because it's not just necessarily one thing like cash flow. You're not buying just for one thing. You got 4 different things that are working in your favor to boost up your net worth and make you worth more and get you towards that $1 million. So I hope this helped. And again, my name is Shane Moynihan. I'm a real estate agent and investor based out of Keene, New Hampshire. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, feel free to hit me up. And if you want to look at more of my day-to-day stories, reels, all that good stuff, follow my socials, and make sure to hit the subscribe and the like button if it added value and you want to see more videos like this weekly. Without further ado, I'll catch you next week.